This video and series is about 3 questions that must and will be answered. 1. Is agriculture the main cause of our most important challenges to existence? 2. Is carbon agroforest the key for humans to thrive, to produce foods, as well as to solve all our challenges? 3. Are cities and communities with autonomous grids and integrated aquifers essential for securities and existence? These are the 3 questions related to thriving and existence that have to be solved. We can go on without solving them now, we can try to gain time, but at some point we could be caught unprepared by irreversible collapse and/or extinction, similar or much worse than when we were caught unprepared by irreversible collapse and extinction in the past. Every time, and now again, we think that this time there will be no collapse and extinction. But absolutely nothing is different or better now. The surveillance and control of diseases, which was very successfully used for over a century and touted as the total solution by health organizations, as well as modern medicine, that our lives in modern times totally depend on, have been in a perfect storm according to themselves, or on the brink of collapse, but these are subjects of other videos. This is made clear by the strategy's name, surveillance and control. Because this name indicates that whenever control or the for control essential antibiotics present breaches, we arrive in full-blown discontrol. That is why WHO etc. warns for disease X, and it being 20 times more severe, without being able to name the pathogen or pathogens, not even if it will be a bacteria or a virus. This makes the warning for disease X a warning of lack of control, and/or of a perfect storm, and not of some specific disease that can be brought under control right away. The origin of humans lies in carbon forests. Recent research has proven that the Amazon forest is not a natural forest, but a mostly human-enhanced carbon agroforest. It is clear that we humans initially developed in the Amazon forest because a. All relevant and scientific ancestral markers prove we humans developed in the Amazon forest. b. Still today we modern humans present the mouth flora of Amazon forest howler monkeys. c. The ancestors of our horses and cattle as well as the mouth flora of Amazon AMERINDS and howler monkeys are similar and native to the Amazon forest. d. The first exclusively human jumping gene mutation started in the Amazon forest, and was carried to the rest of the world through the Austronesian expansion of Amazon AMERIND DNA. The fact that we humans initially developed in the Amazon forest is proven in 2 steps. A. Americans and/or Amazon AMERINDS originated in the Amazon forest, see scientific markers and other proofs. Consensus interprets this as if the first wave into the Americas installed itself in the Amazon forest, which is nothing less than claiming that out of Africans installed themselves first in the Amazon forest. This seen the Amazon Amerindians are the ancestors of all humans. Such a claim should not be recognized because of its impossible probability that is even more impossible than that of Australia to be the first place for out of Africans to install themselves, especially since there is no evidence, only paradigms. b. Americans are the origin of all modern humans, as well as those of the Austronesian expansion. Later the humans living in the carbon agroforests should serve as base for future hybrids and population turnover events that would make up the actual humans of Western Eurasia and the rest of the world. Agriculture is the unsustainable substitution of the Amazon forest-like forests or carbon agroforest, or carbon forest. To abandon carbon agroforest in favor of agriculture with all the consequences we now experience was a consequence of choosing conquest through invasion and war, this 12,000 years ago. Amongst the consequences was the rather immediate destruction of climate and rising of ocean level with 120 meter, which stabilized until recently when we further intensified agriculture and sped up once more the accelerating unfolding of mostly the same consequences. One of our blockades is that we do not even recognize the extreme warming from the Ice Age to the Holocene and the rising of ocean levels as an event that has a cause. We look at it as if it was something religious or a fact, while it obviously is a consequence of destruction. For now we still seem to have a window of time to solve now by means of feeding ourselves and thriving through carbon agroforests because of their extreme production and wide variety of essential and extremely lucrative products and services which literally fulfill all and even our most advanced needs. All this is possible without setback for our actual food producers, including the agro-industry. To fully understand the subject we have to go back 4,500 to 12,000 years, that is from roughly the Younger Dryas to shortly after Stonehenge was built, when we modern humans, which already were and or will become effective agricultural humans, arrived wave after wave, or also hybrid after hybrid on the coasts of Western Europe and Western Eurasia, also called the Atlantic facade, to kill or absorb and replace all native Western Europeans, which we call here the agroforest humans, while others call them hunter-gatherers. In resume those who we call the agricultural humans, were the ones that left the Americas and invaded and took out or over the native Western Eurasian humans, which consensus calls the hunter-gatherers. We prefer to call these native Western Eurasian humans with the name agroforest humans, because they were too much and too developed to depend on the primitive form of hunting-gathering we understand from consensus, for instance in the case of Göbekli Tepe. The relative little that is left of megalithic structures is still too much and too developed for their building cultures to have depended on primitive forms of hunting-gathering. The migrating AMERINDS that overturn the native Europeans and Western Eurasians between 4,500 and 12,000 BP are far too developed and left clear evidence for a. Infrastructures and urbanizations that would require carbon agroforests and/or agriculture. A. Massive whale hunting with processing industry and distribution into the continent. B. Massive harvesting of wild and domesticated animals. C. Evidence of agroforest and/or agriculture and cooking of food. D. Mining and metallurgy. This video is part of a series and to be continued.